Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Supernatural. Another great episode, very, I don't know, interesting. I don't know why I was stammering to think about the word. But a lot of stuff went down this episode, so let's break things down. Obviously, the episode's kind of split in two. Obviously, one side of it is Sam and Jack, and the other side of the episode deals with Dean, who crosses paths with Missouri and Joey, which, interestingly enough, Missouri, played by the talented Loretta Devine, which is so interesting. Like, I feel like she always kind of gets typecast as, like, a very motherly figure, and, you know, it's just that, like, heartwarming, kind of strict, but kind of also very heartwarming. Like, that's how she always gets, like, portrayed in a lot of stuff. At least that I'm familiar with, because she's been in so many things over the years. But nevertheless, it's kind of interesting because they reference it like, oh yeah, Missouri. We haven't heard from what in like over 10 years. And I was thinking to myself, it's like, it has been longer than that, hasn't it? Because the fact of the matter is, I think the only other time Missouri has been around was back in season 1 when they first introduced her, where her and the Winchesters crossed paths. So it's literally been years. I mean, she might not have, like, because I don't think she's popped up any other time except for that, because that was an episode that dealt with their own home, and one of the spirits in that house ended up being their mom's spirit, which is kind of interesting considering their mom is back in the storyline too. But that was just kind of interesting to me. I was like, holy crap. Side note too, it kind of reinforces something I brought up last season too, how notorious this show is for literally bringing people back you haven't seen in so long, bringing them back literally just to kill them. You literally brought her character back to kill her, but at the same time also establish, like, her son James, who is played by the actor. He's been in a lot of stuff, but I think most recently, obviously, like, he pops up on Arrow quite a bit. I forgot his character's name or his position, but, like, obviously he's a part of the SCPD, like, whatever the case may be. He plays her son James, but this was also, you know, set up for her granddaughter Patience. Because basically this wraith is going around killing psychics. And interestingly enough, I could be wrong about this, but the actress who plays Dee Dee, she looks so familiar to me. Is that the same actress who plays Harper on The 100? It looks like that might be her. I might be tripping about that, which is interesting because obviously the actor who plays James and her are from two different other CW shows. It's just kind of interesting. Something that was kind of going in the back of my head. But nevertheless, she kind of, obviously she saw everything coming, so that's why she stayed behind. She's like, oh, they're going, my friends, they're going to kick your ass, essentially. But the Wraith killed her anyway, and she wasn't going to back down. He's like, oh, you should scream. She's like, I'm not going tough, you know, and didn't. Sadly died, dude. Because it's actually messed up because, you know, obviously Sam and Dean had their fight about the whole Jack situation, which I'm definitely going to dive in a lot more when I talk about Sam's side of things. But first of all, it's like Dean saying like, oh, Jody, you know, it's like, you know, Sam asked Jody to kind of help with it. And then like you have Dean be like, what if something happens to Jody? The fact of the matter is you want to say, you know, want to hang with the Antichrist, which you guys have already met the Antichrist. I literally referenced that like an episode or two ago about that whole situation. So it's like, it's just kind of funny that you would reference that, even though you've actually technically met him. But nevertheless, about like, oh, what if Jody died because you were doing all this, and just like Dean goes off on his own. So it's him and Jody working together on this case, because it seems like the reason why, because James and Missouri didn't have a good relationship, because he blamed her, because it's like, yeah, he always knew about his mom's gifts, like her being a hunter, you know, using it to help people and being a hunter. But the fact of the matter is, when he wanted that power to help him, like, it's like she promised like, oh, like his wife would be okay, but she wasn't, and she died. And so he cut off ties with his daughter, his mom, and so she hasn't had a relationship with her granddaughter Patience. And so it's sad that things ended this way, because now it's like there's no filling that gap. Like, Patience grew up so much of her life never really getting to know her grandma, even at points thinking her grandma was a fraud simply because her dad felt like that. It was just, he was so hurt about the whole situation. But he also brings up the fact is, it's something that I think actually kind of like coincides with Dean. It's the whole aspect of like being a little kid growing up in that world. like watching your parents kind of be in that world of hunting and stuff like that. You know, Dean had to grow up, Dean and Sam grew up with that with their dad and everything. So he can understand where James is coming from, not, you know, being scared about where his mom might be during the whole situation and wanting to protect his daughter from that world too. So it's just like all that was just kind of a precursor to something else entirely. Like, yeah, he had his issues with his mom, but it was also, he didn't want his daughter to get dragged up in that world. He was hoping on everything his daughter would end up being psychic. Turns out she is. Side note, I don't remember. I think the show was called The Incredible Crew. Wasn't that it? It was like a Cartoon Network kind of live action type of improv, like comedy, something like show. Wasn't Patience one of her friend in this episode with the glasses? Isn't that one of them? I don't remember their names, but it's like, I think that might have been one of them, just like longer hair and her wearing glasses. And I don't know, that might be, nevertheless, that was just kind of something I couldn't help but notice. It's also kind of interesting that her name is Patience. I think that kind of plays into the role of the whole episode, because it's like her dad kind of had no patience for that life, and now it's like that's her name. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be almost not like a double, like not a like pun on the whole like more like a I don't know. It seems like interesting that her name is Patience is all I'm trying to get at. It's more like, because I mean, what's all said and done, her powers came through when she ended up helping everybody, because she ended up seeing everyone's death. And it was kind of interesting because it seemed like there's two sides to it. Obviously, James, who dabbled in a little bit of magic, he learned a little bit from his mom. It was his way of tracking down Patience. But together with her, with Patience's help, they were able to survive, because each one of them died in her vision. And so they were luckily able to kill the Wraith, who I thought was like something else he was getting out of this. It's like, no, the reason why he chose psychics, he stumbled across a psychic accidentally and started drinking other psychics. And it's just like, he gets high off of it. Like what he gets out of them feels so good that's why he's kind of been targeting psychics specifically. But, he talked about Missouri kind of being the best he's ever had. I'm guessing that's just because like she has so much experience. She's had years and years of practice in controlling her powers, of being really good at what she's doing. She did kind of touch on Dean a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, sorry for your loss," kind of, you know, feeling and knowing everything that, you know, he's gone through recently. So that's why I was kind of shocked when she ended up dying, because I thought she was going to help Dean kind of come to some realization about the whole situation. But Dean kind of spirals off on his own in this, because obviously James is like, yo, this whole power thing, just kind of bury it deep down, have a normal life. And you have Dean being like, yeah, you have a chance at a normal life, get it. Because that's something Dean's tried multiple times, like especially like around the end of season 5, beginnings of season 6. That was a big part of his story of trying to attempt the normal life. Sam even tried it, you know, in season 8. Trying to have a normal life, but it doesn't work out for them, because the moment you step in that supernatural world, there's no getting out of it. That hunter life, it becomes everything. And for him, it's like there's no happy endings for that. It's like nothing but death and just terrible things. I mean, granted, he's in that mood right now just because of everything he's lost, his mom, his best friend. Once again, I won't let Dean forget it, even Crowley. But the fact of the matter is, he's lost so much, so he's not really in the mood to be like, oh, no, you should do, you know, you can save people. It's like, no, because at the risk of, you know, being able, you might be able to save a few people here and there, but ultimately there's always going to be something else right around the corner. There's always going to be people you lose. So it's like, hey, if you need to, bury that and just live a normal life. But you have Jodie kind of saying the exact opposite, because for her, she used the example of Claire. She tried to make Claire stay away from that life, but it didn't matter. Like, Claire felt the call and went off anyway. And it's like, all you're going to do is help push them away. If you try to make them bury that part of themselves that they feel that call for, all you're going to do is cause more problems in the end. So it's just like, Jodie's like, if you do, at the end of the day, it's your choice, which choice seems like a big theme in this episode. So it's like, no matter what that choice may be, you know, whether it's you decide to use your gift, whether you decide maybe it eventually goes away, whatever the case may be, it has to be your choice to decide what you do. You know, no one else can say what's right for you except for you. So, because this is your gift, you know, whether you use it or not, it's also your choice. So, but she hands her number to Patience. So I definitely feel like we're definitely going to be seeing her more, especially like through, you know, connection to Jodie. So, but it's just so interesting because, I mean, it's also her almost, not necessarily, it's not she trying to be a mother, but kind of being a motherish mentor to certain degrees. It's just kind of interesting, like, well, to someone else. I mean, because even amongst her children, like, you know, that counts Claire and Alex, because Alex isn't her biological daughter, like, that's her adopted child. So I don't know. It's just kind of interesting her being that maternal instinct mother for someone else, and to a certain degree. So, like I said, it's just I still feel like I didn't explain it. Well, the whole reason why I think it's interesting her name being Patience and just being kind of caught in between like that decision. Now I don't know. Like it's not even like I don't think it's like an oxymoron or something. I guess maybe to a certain degree, just considering like the world and everything and having the name Patience. It's just I don't know. Maybe oxymoron is kind of the closest thing I can get to really describe it. It's just I'm terrible at this, so I do apologize. Obviously, that's like I said, that's Dean's side of things. On Sam's side of things, he's trying to get Jack to control his powers more because he ended up playing a video for Jack that Kelly left for him, and Kelly's basically, and it's kind of similar to like I said, the whole aspect of choice because she's like, no matter what your dad or me or Destiny says for you, Jack, you be you. Like no matter what you choose, you make that choice yourself. And she's like, no matter what happens, I know you're going to be amazing. Because, he really only knows his mom from the inside aspect. He doesn't really know his mom from the outside. Never got to see her face or got to really know her. Like, he was there inside of her, sure, but at the same time, it's just, that's not the same thing as really knowing her. So Sam tries to get him to control his abilities, but he can't, because a combination of the fact of the matter is he's scared, because he has Dean talking about the fact that, oh, I'm going to kill you, because you're evil, and then it starts making him think, well, maybe I am evil, it starts making him kind of question himself, which Sam doesn't like. Sam is very different. Like, he's like, why are you being so nice to me? It's because, when I was in a similar situation to you, because I've always been different, I've always felt alone in certain regards, and it's thanks to Cass and Dean that I'm here, that they kind of put me on the right path. Because essentially, I'd almost completely forgot about it, because they referenced it at the beginning when they showed the previews. I'd almost completely forgot about the whole fact of, like, Sam being addicted to, like, demon's blood, and then, like, Cass and Dean had to kind of, like, detox about the whole situation, because it's been such a long time. It's been quite a while since we had to dive into that whole, like, Sam's powers things, because that hasn't really come up subsequently since. So, which maybe that's kind of referencing the fact is that obviously it comes into the whole conversation of Jack. The reason why Sam is so understanding of Jack's situation is because he was in that situation. Because I brought that up recently. Like, I'm surprised he still hasn't broken it down to Jack about his own particular situation, like his own connection to Lucifer. It's like, Lucifer's your dad. I'm supposed to be the vessel for Lucifer in some grand destiny battle. So he knows about what it means to fight destiny and his connection to Lucifer and having powers that you're scared of, because Sam was so much of a freak, because that's the exact word Dean used when he was describing what Jack can do. And Dean's like, Sam's like, that was me too. It's like, Dad told you to kill me when all that stuff was happening. He's like, oh, you're different. You're worth saving. It's like, well, he is too. What has he done? Because in Sam's case, he'd be like, what about the bad stuff I've done? The bad stuff we've ever done, bro. Like, it's not like they've ever, like, let's not forget the fact of the matter is they've done some pretty bad things in their life, especially Dean. He's done a lot of stuff that I'm sure he's definitely not proud of, stuff that he felt like was necessary. So how can you condemn Jack, who hasn't done anything? The only thing you're blaming him for is being Lucifer's son. And it's like Cassio's death and everything, like you're putting that all on him. Like, it's not his fault, because you're saying it's like, oh, he controlled Cass and pushed him to all of this. That's why he's done. Because oh, you're only trying to use him. Dean's like, oh, you're only trying to use him, so don't act like you're sanctimonious in this, trying to stick your neck out for him. And it's just so interesting to see them kind of divided so heavily on this subject, which isn't the first time. Like, I've talked about this before. They do not always agree on how things should be handled, but it's like, I side with Sam on this situation just because Dean is so angry and sad about everything they've lost that he's not willing to see any other way, because in his mind it's like, no, he's a threat. The fact of the matter is, like, because you even saw it was almost a situation of him being like, that's not exactly what I was saying. It's like no, that's exactly how you put it. Like, you would put him down if need be, if he turned out to be evil. And it's just like, you're not giving him the benefit of the doubt. You're automatically assuming that he is evil. If he was evil, he would just snap your necks. He could kill you in an instant. You see how powerful he is. But the fact of the matter is, he helped protect you. But then last episode, remember, like, Dean was kind of like, no, that was just like a reaction. He doesn't really care. It's just like he won't give Jack the benefit of doubt, and it's so sad. I 100% agree with Sam. I get where Dean's coming from. I do, but I do believe that Sam has the right for this situation because you had two other people, Cassio and Kelly, who believed in him. But the fact of the matter is, like, you know, once again, Dean will look at it as like, no, he just had them brainwashed. You know, because the moment he touched Kelly is when it all changed. But it's like, no, it's because he saw what Jack could be capable. He saw a potential future. And as, you know, the whole situation with James kind of points out, like, nothing's set in stone. So the fact of the matter is, Dean doesn't realize you're going to be a heavy contributing factor into what Jack's future is. You acting the way you are will eventually lead to him just being Lucifer's son. You know, it's just like you don't know the great good that he can do, the potential good that he can help with, you know? And it's not even just about like what he can do for you guys. I think Sam does legitimately care about him because he does see, like, recognize, he sees someone very similar to him. And it's just like I say, it's just a situation that Dean just can't be optimistic about. He just can only be pessimistic. He can only see the bad side of things. So I mean, I don't know what's really going to happen. I'm surprised Jack didn't just go, but you know, the situation is just going to leave him conflicted. I think when it's all said and done, Dean is going to be the contributing factor ultimately, which will determine which way Jack ends up falling on the grand scale of things. You did see one moment at the end of the episode where he kind of channels his powers and he calls Cassio's name, and we see Cass kind of rising from like this darkness. No surprise there. I had a feeling like that Cass would be coming back just because of different things. You know, I've seen a lot of stuff. Like, I haven't watched any, but I've seen some panels where I've come across a little bit of stuff from panels where Misha Collins was at it with Jarrett and Jensen and just talking. And there was like points where like Jarrett was spoiling stuff, and they're just like, "Dude, what? What are you doing?" Like I said, I didn't watch it, but I would just thumbnails, you know, clickbaity thumbnails and stuff. I mean, I don't think it's really clickbaity when it's actually describing what's going down. So I don't know what Jarrett had said that kind of like set all that stuff in motion. But nevertheless, it kind of got me thinking like, yeah, definitely Cass is coming back this season, especially considering what Jack, I was about to call him Jarrett, what Jack is capable of. And it seems like, because we know that purgatory exists in this world, but that's where like supernatural creatures like vampires go when they die. So the question is, like, you know, it seems like when angels and demons die, they just poof, they disappear. Which begs the question, like, where is Castillo? Is he like will Jack be able to pull him back from the void or whatever? And if he does, will that change, you know, Dean's mind about things? Which I think it would, because one of your biggest problems is like, oh wait, he brought back Cass, so like, you know, what else is he capable of? Like, you know, it might make Dean see things from a different point of view. Like I said, I'm so interested to see where the next episode takes us with all of this. Like I said, this was a great episode. Just like, you know, they've never been in a situation where they've had like an all-powerful being on their side like that. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see, you know, like I said, what goes down. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.